For 20 long years, Morocco stayed away from the biggest stage in world football. A whole generation grew up only hearing stories from their parents about the pride of the Atlas Lions. Children played in dusty streets, dreaming of a comeback that always felt too far away. Each failed qualification brought more silence, more disappointment, and more doubt. But inside that silence, something different was slowly forming. New coaches began studying the game in a smarter way. Young players were leaving early to join European academies, learning faster football, faster thinking, and stronger discipline. It was not loud, and it was not immediate, but it was real change building step by step. Then came a turning point that nobody expected. A new generation of players, fearless and hungry, started to rise at the same time. They did not play with fear of history or pressure from the past. Instead, they played like they had nothing to lose and everything to prove. For the first time in years, hope started to feel alive again. The qualification campaign was not easy. There were hard matches, painful moments, and games where everything could have collapsed. But this time, Morocco was different. The team stayed united even when things went wrong. Every player fought not just for victory, but for the name on the shirt and for the millions watching back home. When the final whistle confirmed qualification, it felt like the country stopped for a moment. Streets filled with noise, flags, and tears of joy. People who had waited for decades finally saw their dream come true. It was not just a return to the World Cup. It was a return of belief itself. And as the team prepared to step onto the world stage again, one truth became clear. This was no longer the same Morocco that once disappeared. This was a new chapter, written by a new generation, ready to face the world and change its history forever. Chapter 1. 20 Years of Waiting, 1998 to 2018. After Morocco's appearance at the 1998 World Cup in France, many people believed that the Atlas Lions would soon become regular visitors to football's biggest stage. The team had talented players, passionate fans, and a proud football history. But nobody imagined that the next World Cup appearance would take so long. What seemed like a short break slowly turned into years of frustration and disappointment. The 2002 World Cup arrived, but Morocco was missing. Fans watched the tournament from home, hoping that better days would come. For years later, the same painful story repeated itself. The 2006 World Cup passed without the Atlas Lions. Then came 2010, and once again, Morocco failed to qualify. Every missed opportunity left supporters heartbroken, but they continued to believe that one day their team would return. As the years passed, coaches changed, players came and went, and expectations rose and fell. Some qualification campaigns started with hope, but ended in sadness. Others ended before they even truly began. Promising generations appeared, only to see their dreams disappear at the final hurdle. The feeling of being so close, yet so far away, became familiar for millions of Moroccan fans. Despite all the disappointments, the supporters never abandoned their team. Whether the results were good or bad, stadiums remained full and streets remained covered with red and green flags. Families watched matches together, and children still dreamed of wearing the national shirt one day. Even during the hardest moments, the love for the Atlas Lions never disappeared. Year after year, a new generation grew up without ever seeing Morocco play in the World Cup. For many young fans, the stories of 1998 sounded almost like legends. They listened to their parents talk about famous matches and unforgettable moments, wondering if they would ever experience such joy themselves. 20 years felt like an eternity, but hope remained alive deep inside every Moroccan heart. By 2018, 2 decades had passed since Morocco's last World Cup appearance. For tournaments had come and gone. 2002 absent, 2006 absent, 2010 absent, 2014 absent. 20 long years of waiting. 20 years of dreams delayed. But while many people outside Morocco had forgotten about the Atlas Lions, something special was quietly beginning to grow. A new chapter was approaching, and it would soon change Moroccan football forever. Chapter 2. The Return to the World Cup, Russia, 2018. After 20 years of waiting, the dream finally became reality. Under the leadership of coach Hervé Renard, Morocco completed an impressive qualification campaign and secured a place at the 2018 World Cup in Russia. For millions of fans, it was more than just a football achievement. It was the end of 2 decades of pain and the beginning of a new era. The Atlas Lions were finally back where they belonged. Excitement spread across the country. Young fans who had never seen Morocco in a World Cup could hardly believe it. Streets were filled with flags, songs, and endless hope. People talked about the tournament everywhere, in homes, cafes, schools, and workplaces. After 20 long years, the nation was ready to stand proudly among the world's best teams once again. The challenge, however, was enormous. Morocco found itself in a difficult group with Portugal, Spain, and Iran. Many experts believed that the Atlas Lions would struggle against such powerful opponents. But inside the Moroccan camp, there was no fear. The players believed in themselves, and coach Hervé Renard had built a team that fought together with discipline, passion, and pride. The first 2 matches ended in disappointment. A late goal against Iran brought a painful defeat, and a narrow loss against Portugal left Morocco with no chance of reaching the next round. Yet, despite the results, the team never gave up. The players continued to fight until the final whistle in every game, showing courage and determination that impressed football fans around the world. Then came the unforgettable match against Spain. Facing one of the strongest teams in football, Morocco played with confidence and heart. The Atlas Lions attacked bravely and showed that they could compete with the biggest nations. Although the match ended in a dramatic draw, supporters felt something they had not experienced in many years. They no longer saw Morocco as a team that was simply happy to participate. They saw a team capable of achieving something special. When the tournament ended, Morocco left Russia in the group stage. But the story did not end with sadness. Instead, it ended with hope. The performances against Portugal and Spain convinced many people that a strong foundation was being built. Few realized it at the time, but Russia 2018 was only the beginning. Deep inside this talented group of players, a historic journey was quietly taking shape, one that would soon amaze the entire world. Chapter 3. The Moroccan Miracle in Qatar 2022. When the 2022 World Cup in Qatar began, very few people expected Morocco to make history. Most experts focused on the traditional favorites and believed that the Atlas Lions would struggle against stronger teams. But inside the Moroccan camp, there was a different feeling. The players believed in themselves, and under coach Walid Regragui, the team was united like never before. They were ready to fight for every ball and represent their country with pride. Morocco started the tournament in a difficult group alongside Croatia, Belgium, and Canada. Many expected Belgium and Croatia to finish at the top, but the Atlas Lions had other plans. They began with a draw against Croatia and then shocked the world by defeating Belgium. A victory over Canada completed an incredible group stage campaign. Morocco finished first in the group, proving that they were much stronger than many people had imagined. The round of 16 brought an even bigger challenge. Spain, one of the giants of world football, stood in Morocco's way. For 120 minutes, the Atlas Lions defended with incredible determination and refused to surrender. The match went to penalties, and goalkeeper Yassine Bounou became the hero. When the final Spanish penalty was stopped, Moroccan players and fans celebrated one of the greatest victories in their history. But the dream was not over. In the quarterfinals, Morocco faced Portugal, another football powerhouse. Once again, the Atlas Lions showed courage and discipline. In the first half, Youssef Enesiri rose high above the defenders and scored with a powerful header. The entire team defended bravely until the final whistle. With that famous victory, Morocco became the first African and Arab nation ever to reach the semi-finals of the World Cup. History had been made. The semi-final against France was a difficult battle. Despite injuries and fatigue, Morocco fought with all its strength against the defending champions. Although the Atlas Lions were defeated, they left the field with their heads held high. Another loss against Croatia in the third-place match meant that Morocco finished fourth in the tournament. Yet nobody saw it as a failure. The players had already achieved something extraordinary. From being considered outsiders before the tournament, Morocco had become the pride of Africa and the Arab world. Millions of people celebrated their achievements, and the whole world admired their spirit and determination. What started as a dream had become history. The Atlas Lions had shown that nothing is impossible, and their incredible journey in Qatar 2022 would be remembered forever as the greatest achievement in the history of African and Arab football. Chapter 4. The world started to believe. After the unforgettable journey in Qatar, Morocco was no longer seen as a surprise team. The Atlas Lions had earned the respect of the football world. People no longer spoke about Morocco as underdogs. Instead, they spoke about a nation that could challenge the biggest teams and compete with the best players on the planet. What happened in 2022 had changed everything. Success did not come by accident. Behind the scenes, Morocco had spent years building a strong future. Modern training centers and football academies gave young talents better opportunities than ever before. One of the greatest symbols of this progress was the Mohammed VI Football Academy, which helped develop many gifted players. The country was investing not only in victories, but also in creating a long-lasting football culture. At the same time, Moroccan players were shining across Europe. Stars such as Achraf Hakimi, Sofiane Amrabat, and Yassine Bounou became known around the world for their quality and determination. More young players with Moroccan roots chose to represent their country, believing in the project and dreaming of becoming part of something special. The national team was growing stronger with every passing year. The belief inside Moroccan football also became stronger. Coaches, former players, and football experts all shared the same vision. They understood that Qatar 2022 was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning. With talented players, experienced leaders, and passionate supporters, Morocco had the tools needed to remain among the world's strongest teams for many years to come. Perhaps the biggest change happened in the minds of young fans. A new generation was growing up with memories very different from those of their parents. They had seen Morocco defeat Belgium, Spain, and Portugal. They had seen the Atlas Lions reach the semi-finals of the World Cup. For them, impossible dreams no longer seemed impossible. They believed that Morocco could become champions one day. And as the world continued to admire the remarkable rise of the Atlas Lions, one thing became clear. Morocco was no longer chasing history, it was creating it. The world had started to believe. More importantly, Moroccans themselves had started to believe. And with another World Cup approaching, many wondered whether the greatest chapter of all had yet to be written. Chapter 5. World Cup 2026. A bigger dream. Back in 2018, Morocco's dream was simple. The Atlas Lions only wanted to return to the World Cup after 20 years of absence. Reaching the tournament itself felt like a victory. The players, coaches, and fans were happy just to see the Moroccan flag among the greatest nations again. It was a new beginning, and nobody expected miracles. For years later, in Qatar 2022, expectations had changed. Morocco no longer wanted to simply participate. The team wanted to prove that it belonged among the best. The goal was to reach the knockout stage and make the country proud. But what followed shocked the entire world. The Atlas Lions went far beyond expectations and wrote one of the greatest stories in football history. Now, as the 2026 World Cup approaches, a new feeling fills the hearts of millions of Moroccans. The dream has become bigger than ever before. Young fans who once celebrated qualification now speak about trophies. Players who once hoped to compete with the world's giants now believe they can defeat them. Confidence has replaced doubt, and ambition has replaced fear. Around the world, people have started looking at Morocco differently. Opponents no longer see the Atlas Lions as outsiders or surprise packages. They see a team filled with talent, experience, and belief. Stars like Achraf Hakimi and their teammates carry the hopes of an entire nation, while coach Walid Regragui continues to inspire his players to dream without limits. The biggest change, however, is found in one simple question. In 2018, people asked, can Morocco return to the World Cup? In 2022, they asked, can Morocco reach the knockout stage? But in 2026, the question has become something far greater. Nobody is asking whether Morocco can surprise the world anymore. Instead, people are beginning to wonder if the impossible is truly impossible. Can Morocco win the World Cup? Just a few years ago, such a question would have sounded unbelievable. But history has already shown that dreams can become reality. From 20 years of waiting to the miracle of Qatar, Morocco has transformed itself into one of football's most respected nations. And as another World Cup journey begins, one thing is certain. The Atlas Lions are no longer chasing history. They are chasing immortality. From 20 long years of absence, Morocco slowly walked back into the world of football. It was not an easy journey, and it was never guaranteed. But step by step, the Atlas Lions rebuilt their identity, their confidence, and their dream. What once felt impossible began to feel real again. In 2018, the return finally happened. The World Cup stage welcomed Morocco once more, after 2 decades of silence. It was not a perfect story, but it was an important one. The team showed heart, discipline, and courage, and reminded the world that Morocco had never truly disappeared. It had only been waiting. Then came 2022, a year that changed everything. Morocco did not just participate, it shocked the world. Victories against football giants, a historic run to the semifinals, and a 4th-place finish turned the Atlas Lions into legends. For the first time, people everywhere looked at Morocco with respect, admiration, and fear. And now, the world stands in 2026. A new generation is watching, dreaming, and believing. A nation that once waited for decades now refuses to accept limits. In every street, every stadium, and every heart, one idea has become stronger than ever. Morocco belongs at the top. Today, the story is no longer about returning or surprising. It is about continuing something bigger. The Atlas Lions are no longer chasing recognition. They are chasing greatness. And for the first time, the world is ready to ask a question it once thought impossible. Maybe the impossible was never impossible for Morocco. Because this is not the end of the story. It might just be the true beginning of the Atlas Lions' greatest era.